So let us start using the DynamoDB. As usual, I will search with DynamoDB as DDB, and you get the services here. Let us click on it and go directly to the user interface. And this is the user interface for using the DynamoDB. As you can see, there is no servers to be managed. We can directly go and start creating the table. So let us do that. So let's start with creating a table. I will give users as the table, and as we discussed in the PPT, every table should have a primary key. So I will give user underscore ID, and let it be a string. It can be a number or binary, but then I'm going to add a sort key right now. Let us go with the minimal selection. And then the table settings, you can definitely use the default settings with no secondary indexes, provisioned capacity set to 5 reads and 5 writes, the basic alarm with 80%, and NSS and SNS topic as DynamoDB. But I don't want to use any of the default settings so that we can see what is this default settings in the first place. And then you can see I'm not going to add any secondary indexes here. So what exactly is the read write capacity? So you can see that of course I am going to incur 2.91 per month for a table with 5 reads and 5 writes to the table. So if somebody is going to, so this is kind of a expensive stuff. But then auto scaling, I'm not going to do auto scaling because this is just a demo. So I will just uncheck it and make sure that the table, I will give it as 2 writes, 2 reads, and 2 writes. And you can see the estimated cost goes down, and if you give 1, again the estimated cost goes down. But in a free tier we are eligible to use up to 10 reads and writes. So I am content with 2. And you can see I have disabled the auto scaling because I don't want to scale it at all. And previously, that's what I told you in one of the videos before, Amazon changes their UI and their capacity with time. Previously there was a provision to not to give any encryption. We could disable the encryption, but now that is not the case. There is some default encryption anyway. So let us go ahead and create the table. And we got the user interface that gives, of course, you can see a lot of tabs appearing here, and with our users table specified here. And then, of course, we can go to the details of what exactly the table details as. Whatever we gave, the name of the table, the partition key. We never gave any sort key, and because um, point in time recovery is disabled, encryption is some default encryption. And if you go down, and the number of reads and writes, everything, and the region where I am using, and if we get a resource name also for our DB. And if you go into the items, as of now, we don't have any items. We will come to this in a moment. The metrics associated with the table. Metrics always means what exactly is happening behind the scenes, how much is CPU time, how many threads are being used, what is exactly. So these are the things that you can see. You can play it around and see how many writes and reads. As of now, there is nothing much. Any alarms that you want to set can be put in the alarms thing. So you can create a lot of alarms by insufficient data. And what exactly the metrics are, of course we are keeping our discussion very simple here. You can just go on. And what are the indexes here? You can create a secondary indexes, which we didn't do that. And the table, global table. So to create a global table, so we need to use DB streams, but we are not using streams. We are keeping our discussion very simple here. no triggers, no tags. You can definitely go on and create the tags. Our discussion here is how we are going to create the tables here. So let us create the so we have created the table, so let us create an item in this particular table. And you can see, of course, there is a user ID to be given. So let us create an item first. So here is the user ID. I can give any value, cts 2021 1 can be the ID, and then I can go on adding. So here you can see there is a plus sign. You can append to whatever. So I will give a string, and then I will give first name. I will give my value of Krishna, and then what exactly? A number, maybe an age field. You can go on adding. I don't want to spend a lot of time here. Maybe one more thing we'll do. Maybe this is an occupation. So, and then I will give the value of trainer. So once you have created an item in that particular table, I can save it. So here you can see one row. So you can just relate to the whatever we are doing in relational databases. We can go on adding items. So let us create another item, and this time let us don't know what was the name. So let us give CTS 2021 and ID of 2. And then I will give a first name of Akhil, and then I will give an maybe a last name. I don't remember the last name of Akhil. So because no idea. So let me give some name. So you can see one thing in the first item in that particular table, I had given age, first name, and occupation. But you can see here that, of course, the last name doesn't exist in the first table. This is one of the beauty of NoSQL databases in general. There is no schema there. So you can go on adding. Maybe I want to add a date of birth, date of birth. And then I can give a date, or maybe is there okay, fine. Let us be 12/01 1990, something like that. 1990, something like that. So that's all for creating the items. So we have created the two items. So let us save it, and you can see the difference between the first row, the first item, and the second item. There is no relationship. There is no schema that prevents us when in putting it there. It is schema less. That is one of the main usage of or main um, value of creating or using a DynamoDB or any NoSQL for that matter. Maybe we can create one more table here. What should be the name given to this? Let us give user POA posts, considering that this can be a blog interface site. And I will give a user ID here, and in here I'm going to give a sort key. So this sort key with the primary key, so the primary key is going to be a combination of the user ID. So I'm going to give a post um, maybe timestamp or something like that, and let it be a string. So this primary key is going to be a combination of the user ID, and so because why I'm giving a single user can have a lot of posts, and each post the timestamp will be a little bit different. So there may be a lot of same user ID. A single user can have a lot of posts, So what will be but the timestamp will always be different, because at a single go he cannot create two posts and put in there. Even if that is the case, there will be some change in timestamp. So this primary key is now going to be a combination of user ID and the post table, just like before. I don't want to have uh, any secondary indexes here, and I will go with the free tire. Thank you. I don't need any auto table. And then I will just, previously I give the read and the write, everything remains the same, and I'm going to create the next table, user posts. And then in the user post, just like we have done before, so in the users, let me just go to the items. Just wanted to see the CTS. Okay, then in the user post, let us create items there, and the user ID is CTS 2021 and user ID 1, and the post, the timestamp. What should be the timestamp? Maybe 22021. This is 07, and uh, day 20, something like that. We can just go on and create the timestamp. It should be different, that's all. So because it is a timestamp, we need to what should be the timestamp? Maybe time of what is the time now? uh, 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 Maybe 17 hours, 17 30 40 millisecond, something like that. This has to be a change, because this item will be a combination. The primary key will be a combination of user ID, and so the user ID can appear, and then you can definitely go on adding whatever you require. So what exactly? Maybe one more thing I will append, and is a string content. Let it be a string. Of course, we cannot do it without hello world. So let us put hello world there, and then save that particular item. And again, you can go on adding, creating the item. And in here, I will give the same value, because as I told you, same value can exist, because now this is a combination of a user ID. So 2021 and 1, and then the timestamp should be a little bit different. So 021, um, so he gave another post um, on 20th with what would be the value. Just give some the time as 14 1400 1400 uh, 00, and some just want to be different. That's all. So you can see here that I have used, and then the content. See my second post, done with it. So this is how you can create. So you can see that here the data structure is the schema, kind of a schema, because we haven't put any different content. You can go on and on with this. So this is how you create. We are not going to talk about how we are going to use this. The CTS curriculum doesn't ask me to use a program to connect to it and do the job. So just want to give a small update on how we are going to create these tables, and what exactly is an item. So instead of row and instead of columns, we put items, and this one row is an item, and this item contains attributes. Instead of columns, we call this as attributes. So this is how we use DynamoDB. Okay, so a small explanation of what exactly DynamoDB. Maybe going forward, you may have to use this thing at some of your project. Maybe you will get to know a little bit deep about DynamoDB. So then, what we are going to do? Let me start to delete these these tables, create delete database. So definitely, I'm going to delete the table user post, and then I will delete the users table too. So delete all alarms for this table. I don't want to create a backup, so let me delete it one by one. Again, I'm only discussing a little bit of things about DynamoDB here. There is a lot more to DynamoDB. Okay, so let us go back to. So I don't have any tables. If you want, you can start creating tables here. So this is a small discussion on DynamoDB. See you in the next video. Bye.